Let me make sure this volume is down on YouTube. All right. We are ready. I am excited. I missed book club. So welcome, you guys. My name is Nina Moore, and I am so excited to be here with you all for our Read and Rain book club. We meet here on Monday nights, unless I'm traveling, right? Unless I'm traveling, which seems to happen a lot these days. However, we meet on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that we can learn and grow together. So in 2019, I believe it was right around the time COVID hit, I was compelled to start to lead a book club. I realized that there was once a time that I really didn't enjoy reading, but some millionaire mentors told me that, Nina, if you want your money to go up, your mindset has to go up. You've got to do personal development. You've got to take time to grow and learn, and everything you want to know is in a book. And as I began to invest time, and I want you guys to understand that that's what I'm saying, as I begin to invest time and personal development and growth, but not just reading the books, but taking the books and putting them into action right away. That was what was most important, that you not only read the book and you not just sit here with us on Mondays, but you take what we're saying and you apply the action steps right away. And so some of the reasons that book club is so important, personal development, reading, personal growth, is because you're never going to earn more than you learn. That is number one. We're never going to earn more than we learn. These are not in order of importance, which is why I hate to say 1, 2, and 3, because then people think that they're in an order of importance. There is no order of importance, right? But the second reason would be because you cannot pour from an empty cup. We can't. So every Monday, unless I'm traveling, I am here to fill your cup. And then the third reason why book club and personal development and growth is so important is because leaders are readers. And if we desire to lead in any capacity or any facet of our lives or our businesses, then guess what? We must read. And so in 2019, I started that book club. And like I said, every Monday, unless I'm traveling, we are here live. And so right now, we are actually covering Think Your Way to Wealth. After listening to Train Your Aura to Attract Wealth, I knew that I wanted to hear more from Napoleon Hill. And that is why this was literally the sequel that came off of us. Many of us are actually listening to it. Train Your Aura to Attract Wealth. Train Your Aura to Attract Wealth. And I think my husband lowered this computer because I know it's like, I can see the tip of my computer. Do me a favor, take the back handle and tilt it up a little bit because I shouldn't be able to see my tilt up. Yep. Right there. Right there is good. Right there is good. Thank you. Because I was seeing the tip of my computer. I didn't want to see that in the video. There you go. Now we can see each other better. All right. So the thing that I love about book club, and welcome to all of you. If this is your first time, let us know in the comments. If this is your first time, hit a 1 in the comments, right? And if you have been here before, then we want to know if you're here all the time, then definitely let me see a 2 in the comments, right? A 1, good evening, good evening, good evening. It's so good to be back. Literally just touching down from Dubai, from Paris in Germany, right? It's been a whirlwind of a week. And we're gonna now dive into Think Your Way to Wealth. Now, what I love about this, our book club, because it's not mine, it's ours, is that you don't need the book, right? I'm gonna read this to you. Thank you, Antoinette. And what I love about this book, and I don't know how many of you are loving that as well. What's up, Ryan? Is that this book is like a conversation between two masterminds. All right, I kind of want to give you a little context on this book. This book happens to be a conversation between two masterminds, Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. All right. What's up, Nichelle? And we're finding that we are absolutely loving. So I gave us some homework before we ended the last book club, and I asked for 3 people to be prepared to read when we were going to turn our thoughts into action. 1, to support your mind in achieving definiteness of purpose, write down a detailed description of your largest goal or highest aim and read it out loud each day. Read it out loud each day. All right. So at the end of this, we'll have a few minutes at the end where I will stop the live share on YouTube and we will stay on here. So at the end, when you guys hear me say that I'm going to stop the live share on YouTube and it's going to sound like I'm ending, I don't want any of you that are on the Zoom to log off, right? Don't log off the Zoom because we're going to continue together. So if you would, let everybody know that we're live on book club, because we definitely know that there's more people that are normally on here with us. So let us go on and let everybody know that we're live on book club so that they don't miss out. Let's share the wealth that we are on the Zoom for a book club, and let's get our friends and family on here. All right, you guys, let's get everybody on here with us. So we're starting chapter 2. And what we'll do is at the very end, we will all come together. And I'll have 3 people that did their homework. If you didn't do your homework, don't try to do it now. Right? I want 3 people that actually did it to volunteer to read what they wrote down, a detailed description of your largest goal or highest aim. So chapter 2 is called The Mastermind. All right. Thank you, Zena. It is so good to be back. Chapter 2 is called The Mastermind. And we're going to start with Napoleon Hill saying, Mr. Carnegie. Oh, can y'all hear me good? Mr. Carnegie, you have named the second success principle, the mastermind. Please explain what you mean by this term. Right? Carnegie says, the mastermind is an alliance of 2 or more minds working together in a spirit of perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. It is very important. Edna, Jamaica, Brian, Zena, Tracy, Nichelle, Tedra, Tosuna, Melissa, Tara, Pastor Sean, Dr. Ramunda, Tamara Bogan. It is so important to all of us, ladies and gentlemen. I see you, Cheryl and Lynn and Mary Sue, Nikki. I see you all right now, Sonia, Tammy Clark. Who else we got that I didn't say? And reading, I don't know who it says, reading AI. I don't know who that is. Betty Chandler, welcome. It is so important that we spend more time around people who are like-minded. I am telling you, it is of the utmost importance that we spend time around people who are like-minded. The conversations that you hear when you're around people who are like-minded or who have more than you, right? There's a very different kind of conversation that you hear and that you have. And what happens is this. If you don't get around people who think differently and talk differently, and I'm going to tell you, when I get around those people, I don't do a lot of talking. I do a lot of listening. I don't talk about, yeah, well, this is what I've done. Yeah, I do that too. And nope. I listen the entire time I'm with them, because it is important to hear a different style of conversation. It's very important that we hear a different style of conversation, that we hear a different topic of conversation. Like, what do people who are wealthy talk about? What do they talk about? So I'm gonna tell you, no thing goes without a hitch, right? And the thing is, when you're good, you just cover the hitches, because you're always prepared for moving to the next thing, or making sure things kind of like play out the way they're supposed to, right? Well, when we were having a conversation, somebody that's very wealthy was in the room speaking with us, and they were like, yeah, I don't never worry about what people say about me. And they was like, so yeah, I don't worry about that ever. And to listen to how they handle adversity. See, because I'm going to tell you something. The one thing that I realized when it comes to wanting to earn more income, that we cannot, and we will never earn more income, not understanding that people who earn more income, it just means that they are able to handle more conflict. As the level goes up, you have to be able to handle more conflict, and you got to be able to handle it quickly. So people get paid bigger money to be able to manage more people or to manage more conflict. If something makes you fall apart because you're disturbed by it happening and it shocked you and oh my gosh, and you're like falling apart, you'll never have the capacity to earn more income, because you have to be results driven. I want you to write that in the comments. Results driven. And that is without having to ask a bunch of people a bunch of questions. You have to learn how to manage and solve problems if you want to earn more income. Have to learn to be results driven, which is why the book Think and Grow Rich is so important. And all of these philosophies are from Think and Grow Rich. All right. So he said the mastermind is an alliance of 2 or more minds working together in a spirit of perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. Pastor Sean, what does that remind you of? What does that remind you of? Where two or three are gathered together in my name, right? Then he can be in the midst. So what happens when two or three, because it's ironic to me, not ironic, but it's interesting. Let me say interesting. To me, Pastor Sean at Carnegie would say the alliance of two or more minds. Two or more, not one or two people. He said two or more minds. I need y'all to really think about what he's saying. Think about the words that these masters are saying. Ironically, and y'all make sure, listen, as you're letting people in that say Zoom user, let's make sure that we can see their faces, turn their cameras on, and y'all that are host, make sure you're watching, okay? For people who may drop on, Nichelle, I'm gonna make you a co-host as well. I need y'all to watch to make sure, because when it says Zoom user, we don't know who those people are. And we actually like for you to put your name in if you're just Zoom user, because we need to watch to make sure we don't get any lewd activity on the Zoom. Okay, y'all? So Hill comes back to say, do you mean to say that merely having definiteness of purpose is not enough to ensure one's success? Is that what you mean to say? Hill says, so Carnegie says, if your goal is to achieve more than mediocrity, then you must partner with others, coordinate your thoughts, and work together in a spirit of harmony. So, to all the people that say, I'll just do it myself. Oh, well, I'll just do it myself. That's okay. I'll just do it myself. I don't need nobody else. You lying. You're lying, because Carnegie says, if your goal is to achieve more than mediocrity. So basically, by yourself, you're average. He says, basically, by yourself, you'll never be more than average. Oh, that's okay. I don't need nobody else. I'm going to just do it myself. You know, when we get mad at people, that's what we say. I don't need her. I don't need them. I'll just do it myself. Two is better than one. The Bible says it. The Bible says it. But when it comes to our business, tell me why we love to remove what the Bible says. We know what it says. But this says to coordinate your thoughts, to work together in a spirit of harmony. Listen what he says, Carnegie. You might be able to attain the position that you desire on your own. Oh, so it's saying, yeah, you might be able to obtain it on your own, but you cannot become great in any field of human endeavor without applying the mastermind principle. So, you know, for those people that are like, I don't need to get on that training. I don't need to show up for that conference. What I need to go to Vegas for, to go to a conference. Why Nina having a boot camp and she charging $100 for that? What I need to go do? Oh, because Zena, this says that you will remain mediocre at best. And in order to what? To become more than that, if your goal is to achieve more than average, we got to work together in a spirit of harmony, coordinate our thoughts. We cannot move forward to become great without applying the principles of the mastermind. Whoa! All right, so many individuals have failed, or at least plateaued in their success journey, because they did not realize just how crucial harmony and a shared sense of purpose are within the mastermind alliance. And it's amazing that I didn't even know this chapter was going to say that. And I just told you how, for me, being in Dubai, being able to be around people who think the way that I think, right? People who have more than me. When you get around that energy, just that energy, and you get to hear the things that you should be doing to now take you from where you are, so that you're not remaining plateaued or at mediocre. Plateaued or at mediocre. A big problem, you know what, let me not say, we're having a leadership training tomorrow night. I can't wait that I'm getting out of the way and I'm going to bring in a master. We got a master coming to teach our so if y'all miss it, I feel sorry for you, because I have a master trainer coming in to teach our leaders tomorrow night at 8:00, and it won't be on this line, so can't nobody sneak on, because they earned it. Team leaders and above, they earned it. So if you miss, don't be late either. Don't be late. Don't show up late. You should never show up late. Don't be late because there's a master coming in tomorrow night to teach us on leadership, right? So listen to this. If the people in a mastermind hope to accomplish their purpose, they must be in perfect harmony with the goal of alliance. It says with its leader and with every member. Because no individual can become great in any field of human endeavor without applying the mastermind principle. So Napoleon Hill says, well, how can someone ensure their fellow mastermind members are working in complete harmony with them? Because how do I know that these people are even on the same page as me? How do I know? Right? Carnegie says, first, remember that everything a person does is a result of a definite motive. We begin doing things because of a motive, and we continue doing them because of both motive and habit. So when people tell you, when you say, Tamara Bogan, when you ask a person, well, why did you do that? And they're like, I don't know. They're lying. They're lying. Let me tell you why. Because nobody does anything without a motive. There is a motive. And no one does anything without a motive, whether it's pure or impure. There's always a motive. I don't know why I did that. I don't know what made me say it. You know what made you do it. You know what made you say it. Oh, rut-row. Rut-row. Uh-oh. So, and we continue doing them because of habit and motive. But there may come a time when the motive is forgotten and we continue on because we have established a habit. So now what that says is you're operating on autopilot. You're just operating on autopilot because what was your motive has become your habit. It has become who you are. Yikes! So if you're constantly a person who requires validation, if you're constantly a person who seeks attention, if you're constantly a person who all eyes on me, if you're constantly a person, then now this is literally not even a motive anymore because it's just who you are. It's habit. And it's okay because we're going to get better. It says there are 9 basic motives that inspire people to take action voluntarily and in a spirit of harmony. Y'all get ready to write them down. It's important for the leader of a mastermind to select members who have the ability to do what is required of them and who will respond in a spirit of harmony to the particular motive offered to them in return for their assistance. So I go to a mastermind when I'm invited with Mr. Nehemiah Davis. He has this mastermind, y'all. He doesn't allow just anybody to come to that mastermind. No, you have to be privately invited to come to his mastermind. You know why, Zena? Because he wants to make sure that the people in the room, he knows that they will go to action immediately. Now, I'm going to explain what happened at one of the last masterminds. From the very front of the room, I was getting ready to leave, and I think Neo saw that Paul and I were getting ready to leave. We needed to come back across town to get Paige, right? And so I started to gather my things, and right at the end of the time that he was speaking, I don't even know what made it happen or what made him say that, but he was like, so listen, I'm going to tell y'all right now, Nina is one of the baddest hosts that you could ever have. This is before you started to see me hosting as much as I'm hosting now. He said she the baddest host that there is. So if you need a host for your event, call Nina. I looked at him and I said, wow, thank you for doing that. Because when Nehemiah Davis refers you, because he's not putting his name on something that he know it might come back to bite him in the butt, right? So the fact that he referred me, Tracy, was like major from the front of the room. Well, I gathered my things. I told him, thank you, gathered my things. And as I was running up the steps to leave out, I heard me and Paul went up, but we heard somebody else was following us. When I get to the top of the steps and I'm about to walk out the door, Runway Billionaire is at the door, Pastor Sean. And he was like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me get your info right now because I'm looking for a host. And he was like, I'm about to connect you with my assistant right now. I will tell you that I work for Runway, 3 to 5 times a week now? 3 to 5 times a week. Now, let me tell y'all something. If you were to look at Runway Billionaire, many of you would have looked at him and would have counted him out. You would have overlooked them. Let me tell you why you would have overlooked Runway Billionaire, who's very wealthy. Because he's he's head to toe tattoos on his face, on his neck, on his arms. But Dr. Romanda, Runway is one stellar dude. Pay on time, keep me busy working, but most people would have looked at him and would have wrote him off. But I knew if he was at the mastermind, remember I said only a special person, Tamara, right, gets invited to the mastermind. But look at what he did. He implemented what he heard immediately. He didn't let me leave the event without getting my number. And literally, as I'm walking out the door, his assistant was responding. So she knows how he operates. She knew she better have responded right then because she knows how he operates. Y'all get what I'm saying? All right? Never judge a book by its cover. I'm trying to tell y'all because you have no idea who might be in the room with you that could be the key to your breakthrough. But listen, on a normal basis, you would have looked at a Runway Billionaire. All of y'all can go look him up on Instagram. Runway Billionaire working every day. Every day. And every day Runway is keeping somebody working. All right? But this says, it says the mastermind to select the people who have the ability to do what is required of them and who will respond in a spirit of harmony to the particular motive offered to them in return for their assistance. The 9 major motives, what I sometimes call the alphabet of success, are as follows. Y'all ready? I'm going to say them and then I'll go back. I'm going to say them all and then I'll go back so that you guys can get them all. Just let me get through the list first because we're also doing content at the same time, okay? So the 9 major motives are, which are called the alphabet of success. 1, the emotion of love. 2, the emotion of sex or intimacy. 3, the desire for financial gain. 4, the desire for self-preservation. 5, the desire for freedom of body and mind. 6, the desire for self-expression leading to fame and recognition. 7, the desire for perpetuation of life after death. 8, the emotions of anger. And 9, the emotion of fear. The alphabet of success. I'm going to go back. So that you all can get them. You probably got 1, the emotion of love. Right? So 1 was love. 2 is sex or we'll say intimacy, right? And maybe if I spell it right. Intimacy, right? Then we've got the desire for financial gain. Desire for financial gain. Financial gain. And then we have desire for self-preservation. Preservation. Right? The desire for self-preservation. Then we have desire for freedom of body and mind. Now I think all of these are desire for up to 7. Okay? Freedom of body and mind. Body and mind. And then we have the desire for self-expression. Self-expression leading to fame and recognition. Fame and recognition. All right, that was number 6. Number 7 is the desire for perpetuation of life after death. Perpetuation of life after, add all these extra letters, life after death. And then we have the emotion of anger and the emotion of fear as 8 and 9. 8 is the emotion of anger, and then the emotion of fear. All right? And those are the 9 major motives of what I sometimes call, not me, of what Carnegie sometimes calls the alphabet of success. The last 2 motives are negative, but they are powerful stimulants to action. The leader of a successful mastermind alliance must use one or more of these 9 basic motives to induce every group member to provide the harmonious cooperation required for success. Now, I'm going to take a moment because I think that we really need to define the word induce. And let me tell you why. Oftentimes, we hear the word induce, and I believe that we don't understand what the word induce means. And I have defined it before, but I want to get the definition of induce. It's not seduce. Induce and seduce are two different things. All right? Let's make sure we know induce, induce, is to succeed in persuading or influencing someone to do something. But normally, when you induce others, it is not a negative thing to induce someone, to seduce someone. Samson and Delilah, right? That's what you think of. Seduce. But induce means to bring on the birth of a baby, artificial typically used by drugs. So to bring forth something quickly. Induce. You see what I'm saying? The difference of induce and seduce. Induce, let me see, there's another definition that I like. Induce. To persuade someone to do something to bring about a particular state or condition or process. Oh, here we go. To persuade someone to do something or to bring about or cause a particular state, condition, or process to happen, often artificially or through influence. So what is the purpose of this mastermind? The purpose of a mastermind is to get like-minded people together so that we can induce them to do something more positive, to put our brains together, to bring our habits together, our motives together, so that we can form a harmonious motive so that we can do what? Become a better version of ourselves, build our businesses bigger. Do we understand where I'm going with this? Does everybody understand? Yes or yes, right? This is so important to understand that this is important. This mastermind experience, we run from these mastermind experiences. Whenever, there's never a time, if I am in a state somewhere and I notice someone I have respect for, I know I've done more than I've done, I don't care how many times I've heard them speak, I'm going to continue to go. Because every single time you hear something different. How many of you have watched the same movie 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times? Every one of us have done it. How many of you all have seen something different, even on the 6th or 7th or 8th time you've seen it? You're like, wait a minute. I didn't know that part was there. I didn't know they said that. We were watching Home Alone. How many times has everybody watched Home Alone? I don't, my kids are grown, y'all. My oldest is 37. I can't tell y'all how many times we've had to watch Home Alone. Well, we were watching Home Alone recently, and Paige was on, and I said, run that back. I said, rewind that. I said, I don't know. I said, I've had to watch this at least 10 times because my kids loved Home Alone. Like, they loved it. And as I'm listening, I said, I've never heard him say that before. Y'all. That is why, and we think, oh, I don't got to get on there. I don't need to get on that train. I don't need to get on that call. I don't need to be on there because, yeah, I heard that already. All she's going to do is here to say the same thing. Oh. Do we really hear the same thing every time we hear the same thing? We don't. You know what really matters? When we're listening to something, what really matters is the state that we're in when we're listening. Well, I'll be jumped up. What matters, all right. See ya? What really matters is the state that we're in when we're listening. If we're in an offended state, we won't hear nothing a person says. Oh, if we're happy, we hear everything a person says. Come on. If someone has made us mad, we don't hear certain things that they say. If we're listening, but the TV is on, we don't hear everything that's said. Because that distraction of the TV, you don't know how distracting that is. I am trying to tell you that how we hear, what we hear is solely based on whatever state of mind we're in. So, Mr. Hill says, Mr. Carnegie, in your experience, which of these 9 motives is most effective? He says, Carnegie says, the emotion of love, the emotion of sex, and the desire for financial gain are the most valuable for inspiring business success. Most people want to succeed financially so that they can please their significant other. However, there are individuals who will work harder for recognition than for material financial gain. There are people, let me tell you why, and I'm going to do a training this month on the personality types. And it's funny because I was teaching the kids that while I was away this week. I explained to them and the chaperones, you cannot speak whale to a dolphin. If a person loves to have fun and they tell you, I just love to have fun, and then you come in trying to tell a person who loves to have fun, let me give you the facts. Let me give you the fact. The person who loves to have fun, you've already lost them, because the person that loves to have fun don't want to hear nothing about no facts. You got me? So we have to understand, it's kind of like the same love languages that you learn about your relationships, your marriage, and the relationship that you have. It's the same when you're dealing in business, that you have to understand the language that people are speaking. So this is saying the emotion of love, sex, and the desire for financial gain are the most valuable for inspiring business success. What would love and sex have to do with inspiring business success? Most people want to succeed financially so they can please their significant other. However, there are individuals who will work harder for recognition than for material and financial gain. So do you know the people that you work with? Do you know the people who could care less what check they earn? They just want to be recognized for getting a customer. Oh, they don't care. Some people really don't care. They just want to hear you call their name. Just call my name. They just want a Data Boy award. You were amazing. Now, let me tell y'all something. Me, call me the janitor, cut me the check. I don't care. I don't. Until the time that it's important to care. Does that make sense? Because now you're not going to overlook something I did. Like if I accomplished something that deserves like a trophy or an award or something like that. But like the day-to-day stuff, I don't even talk about most of my success day to day because it don't really matter. I only do it at times to inspire people or to drive them to see that this really is what's possible. So anytime I'm sharing it, I don't need nobody to say, wow, I need to congratulate. I'm not looking for that. Because I congratulate myself. I'm seriously, like I'm going to celebrate me. I don't need nobody else to do it, right? But we got to understand that this says there are people who work harder for recognition than they'll work for anything else. So Hill says, it would seem that the leader of a successful mastermind group would have to be skilled at reading people. Given the success of your mastermind, it's clear that you've excelled at choosing the right people for your alliance. So now the leader has to do what? Also choose the right people to be in this mastermind. Okay? You need to don't invite people to the mastermind who you know are there because they just want to be in the picture of the room. No, invite people who are going to come to the mastermind and work and go into action. You don't need people who are just going to be bump on the logs because they just want to be there, because they just want to be present. No, them days is over, right? It says choosing the right people for your alliance, because choosing the right people for your alliance could also mean that remember, that's going to affect everybody else that's in the room. Because what energy does that person bring to the room? Do they bring any thought? Don't bring people to your masterminds that ain't going to open up their mouths and contribute to the conversation. Don't bring them to the mastermind. People that just want to be in the room just because they want to be there. No, they don't belong in the mastermind. Because what skill set do you bring? When they go to ask you a question, and I'm not saying that this person is going to talk, but when they go to ask you a question, are you available for feedback? You got to bring people to a mastermind that are available for feedback. I'm going to do a mastermind here. I'm going to do one in Atlanta. So listen, he says, how do you mastermind group would have been skilled at reading people, given the success of your mastermind? It's clear you've excelled in choosing the right people. How did you do that? How did you pick them based on careful observation, or did you use a trial and error method, replacing individuals who weren't a good fit? Carnegie says no one is wise enough to judge others accurately by sight. There are observable qualities that can be indicative of an individual's ability, but there is one trait that is more important than the other, especially when assessing a person's suitability for a mastermind group, and that's their mental attitude. Y'all write that down. What's most important is people's mental attitude. I'm going to tell y'all something. I am so big on energy. And I decided that in 2026, I don't want lame energy around me. And it's funny, a lady asked while I was in Dubai and all yesterday while I was coming home, hey, do you mind if I talk to you? Because I'm really thinking about joining your business, but I just kind of need a little bit of clarity on some things. And I said, no problem. She had already bought products as a customer. I said, no problem. We got on the phone today and she said, hey, Nina, how you doing? She said, I know you're busy. You've been traveling. How are you? And I said, I'm amazing. Pastor John, she said, your energy is always so great. Now, I didn't scream, I'm amazing. I just said, I'm amazing. She said, it's one of the reasons why I follow you. She said, I'm not a social media person, so I don't even know how I came across your videos. She said, but there's something about your energy. It is conveyed in every one of your videos. You guys have to now say, what do men say of me? What do they say I am? Because we think that what people say is not important, and it is very important. We're either repelling people or we're attracting them. What do men say of you? One of the things while I was away, one of the photographers that was there, her name was Joy. Joy happens to know Grace, right? And y'all know Grace is one of our personal content record, right? And she became a family. She's like family, right? And she said, one of the things Joy said to me in a conversation we were having, one of the things that attracted me to Grace was she has great energy. Y'all hear what I said? Don't think that energy will attract or repel, because it will. If you have a low energy, nobody's going to want you around, because all they're going to remember is, oh yeah, I don't know. Don't invite them because they got low energy. Y'all, okay, I'm going to just keep reading. He says, no one is wise enough to judge it accurately by sight. He said, but by what? He said that their mental attitude. No one who is negative or inclined towards selfishness, egotism, or gossip will fit into a mastermind alliance. Yikes. No, let me read that again. It says, no one who is negative, inclined towards selfishness, egotism, or gossip will fit into a mastermind alliance. And if you have such an individual in your mastermind, they will surely hinder the ability of the other members to contribute positively. Because you got to remember now, Hamina, is that who we invite to this environment affects everybody else. Which is why I don't really care about feelings, Melissa. If I see a cancer, I cut it off at the root. You can't allow cancers to fester. Because guess what? If you don't deal with stuff and nip it in the bud, it grows and grows and grows. So this says, and if you have such an individual, right, they will hinder the ability of the others to contribute positively. The most successful individuals in and beyond the mastermind group are those who have the ability in their field and the right mental attitude toward their associates. Hill says, well, what about the leader of the mastermind? Doesn't that person need to be an expert in their field before managing others in the alliance centered on achieving success in that area? Carnegie says no. In fact, the mastermind people enables the organizer to succeed without comprehensive knowledge of the subject around which the members have aligned. For example, I know little about the technical aspects of the manufacturing and marketing of steel, and I don't need to know more because I have individuals in the mastermind whose expertise can be tapped into when needed. My job is to keep the members inspired and committed to the harmony and success of the group. And I do this by using a combination of the 9 basic motives previously mentioned. He says, Hill says, well, am I to understand that you owe your success entirely to the mastermind principle? Carnegie says, not entirely, but it is the primary success principle by which I have made my fortune. The mastermind paired with definiteness of purpose is responsible for most of all achievements in any line of human endeavor. Neither of these by itself could produce success. So we already killed the fact that all of that, well, I'll just do it myself. I don't need nobody. I don't need to. That is not what the book said. That's not what the book is teaching us. We'll never go. You know, it's there's a quote, and someone can search it while we're on here. But if you want to go fast, you can go alone. There it is. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you need a team. So yeah, you might be able to go fast by yourself, but you need a team to go far. All right? So Carnegie says, Hill says, I'm sorry, where we at? Carnegie. The mastermind is so powerful because when individuals blend their mind power, that is so important. We are coming together to do what? Blend our mind power with each other in a spirit of perfect harmony. They access an intangible force that no single mind can ever experience. So Napoleon Hill says, well, why haven't others discovered the mastermind principle as you have? Carnegie says, I didn't discover it. I took it from the Bible in the New. He says, I took it from the Bible in the New Testament. Lord, we about to fall out our chairs. He said, I took it from the Bible in the New Testament. I didn't find it. He says, in the story of Christ and his 12 disciples, you'll recall the unusual power the disciples retained after Christ's death through their alliance with him while Christ was himself allied with God. Christ said to his followers that they could perform even greater things, for he had discovered that the blending of 2 or more minds in a spirit of harmony with a definite goal gives one contact with the power of the universal mind. Judas's actions showed the damage that can be done when one member of the alliance breaks the bond of harmony. Greater works. So Suna is like, whoa, this is deep. So good. So good. Hill says, well, does the mastermind principle have application beyond relationships? Carnegie says, absolutely. It is useful in any relationship in which cooperation is necessary. Take the home, for example. When a family puts their heads together and works for the good of the entire household, you will find contentment, happiness, and financial security in that home. One of the greatest mastermind alliances can be created through marriage. Observe those individuals who have distinguished themselves, and you will likely find that they are in marital union characterized by oneness of purpose, of love, and complete harmony. Doesn't mean that you agree on everything. Doesn't mean that you get along all the time. That doesn't mean that. But there still needs to be marital harmony where you are not always saying potato and I'm always saying potato. That doesn't mean that you have to agree on everything, but your spirits have to be in agreement. Does everybody understand that? No, I'm still going to like some of the things I like. Paul's still going to like some of the things he liked, but there are a whole lot more things that we agree upon. And we have the spirit of agreement. Oh, there's a spirit of agreement. I don't always agree with what he does or says, but in the home, Pastor Sean, we have a spirit of agreement. Oh, okay. Let me just keep reading. She said, I'm trying to throw my phone. All right. So Hill says, I want to return to an idea you mentioned a second ago. Did I understand you correctly that the mastermind is powerful not only because you can leverage the experience and expertise of the other members of your alliance, but also because the coordinated efforts of the group grant the members access to spiritual forces otherwise unavailable to them? So wait a minute. Unless we mastermind, there are spiritual forces otherwise unavailable to me unless we do what? Come together in agreement. Oh my gosh, Pastor Sean, I just got such a revelation. So we cannot move forward except we be agreed. We just literally had a call with our CEO this week, and I'm not going to say anything today that he's going to say it in Vegas. But he's talking about us all having the same mind and the same voice, saying the same things. That is what moves a movement, forms. That is what, because right now, all of us are patch, post, share, care, patch, post, share, care, patch, post, share, care. Our team know what to do. Hey, if you're not patching, post, and sharing, caring, are you on the team? Are you even on this team? Because that's what we doing. This just said, whoa. Okay, so Carnegie says, yes, that's exactly how I understand it. A great psychologist once said that no two minds can come in contact without their being born. They're being born from that association, a third, an intangible mind. So we have to come together to form a third tangible mind. So I got my mind, Dr. Ramunda got her mind. But when we come together, when all of us come together, Melissa, we form a third tangible mind. What was the third tangible mind? When it comes to our businesses, we patch, post, share, care. That's the third tangible mind. Oh my goodness. So the third tangible mind of greater power than either of the two minds. Whether the third mind becomes a help or a hindrance to the two contacting minds depends on the mental attitude of each of them. It's like one band, one sound, one voice, one band, one sound, one voice. I don't know if y'all saw Drumline, but when you watch Drumline, you know that was the problem, that Nick Cannon couldn't understand that we didn't care about your little talent, Nick. They don't care about your little ego. Nick had an ego. And Nick needed his ego stroked. And he said, we don't care about your talent. And although we appreciate your talent, we are one band, one sound, one mind. That's it, that's all. And when they got on the same page, when they all brought their minds together, Tosuna, to create a third mind, oh my goodness, that was more powerful than their separate. Something magnificent happened. Oh my goodness, this is powerful. Okay. Whether the third mind becomes help or hindrance, right? Depends on the mental attitude of each. If both minds are harmonious, sympathetic, and cooperative, then the third mind born of both can greatly assist them. If the attitude of one or more minds is antagonistic, controversial, or unfriendly, the third mind born of the contact will be harmful to both. Oh my goodness. So here, I'm gonna finish this page and then we'll go ahead and stop so that we can go ahead and log off, and then we'll stay here on Zoom. Remember, those of you on Zoom, don't get off. We're gonna log off of YouTube so that we'll see if anyone actually did their homework, okay? So it says the mastermind is not a man-made principle. It is governed by a natural law as unchangeable as gravity. We cannot alter or influence this law, but we can understand it and adapt ourselves to it in ways that will bring us to great benefits, no matter who we are or what our calling may be. Hill says, from what you've said about the mastermind principle, it sounds like those without extensive education do not need to limit their ambition on that account, for they can make use of the education of others. It also sounds like regardless of how much education one has, an individual cannot achieve noteworthy success without the aid of other minds. Is that correct? Right. So this has nothing to do with if you got a degree and I got a degree and this one don't. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has everything to do with mental attitude and energy. And energy. It says, so Hill says, so Carnegie says, both of your statements are correct. Lack of schooling is not a valid excuse for failure. Neither is exhaustive schooling a guarantee of success. Someone once said that knowledge is power, which we know that that's a lie. But he told only a half of the truth. For knowledge is only potential power. It may become power only when it is organized and directed towards definite ends. No problem, Pastor Sean. There is a big difference between having an abundance of knowledge and being educated. The word educate comes from the Latin word educare, which means to draw out, to develop from within, to grow through use. It does not mean to acquire and store knowledge. Oh my goodness. So, Hamina, they're educating our kids in school. They're educating our kids. But educare that comes from educate comes from the Latin word educare, which means to draw out, to develop from within, to grow through use. So, Tamara, how are they really educating our kids when they're not allowing them to draw anything out? They're telling them what they should know. How are they really educating our kids? Paige learned more in Dubai than she will ever learn in 2-3 years of school. Because in order to educate, it's to draw out, to develop from within, to grow through use. They're not even allowed to use anything that they might know in school. No, they're being programmed to know or believe whatever they say they need as necessary. This says, therefore, knowledge is not power, but the use of other people's knowledge and experience for the attainment of some definite purpose is power, and power of the greatest kind. Oh my goodness. This is so good. I hate that we have to stop right now, but oh my goodness. We will make sure that we are back. We're back next Monday to go back. We're still in chapter 2, y'all, on page 23 of Think Your Way to Wealth, in the chapter of the mastermind. And we still got enough left to finish a whole nother before we go into an attractive personality. Okay, let's talk about the mastermind. So listen, I'm gonna go ahead and log off here of YouTube, not off the Zoom. So we are so glad we had this time together. And if this is your first time, welcome. If not, and you're here with us every single Monday, we're so excited that you are here. Listen, be kind to one another, do a good deed, and make sure you pay it forward. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you're interested, we'll be back here on this line at 8 o'clock, which is in 1 hour and 50 minutes. We actually log on a little bit early at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Vision Mastery Call that we have every single Monday. We cannot wait to see you again on Monday, and we hope that you found value out of this Read and Rain book club with Nina. Good night, and God bless you all.